Hi guys, welcome aboard of Crypto Cruiser. It's me, Chris, and today we're gonna talk about Litecoin. We're gonna do some chart analysis. Litecoin compared to the USD, also Litecoin compared to BTC chart as well. We're gonna talk some fundamentals, what's new with Litecoin, some potential targets, how I'm thinking it's gonna play out. One of the most bullish scenarios that I can clearly see. So let's get started, guys. Just before I start with the Litecoin charts, let's just see the Bitcoin and how perfectly this chart has been predicting every single move, and that's what we've been doing. So as I said, um, especially here when we dropped from 65 to 57 to 54 to 52, everything has been predicted by this chart. So we are going into this bullish channel pattern, and I think by next week there's gonna be a lot more bullish momentum on the Bitcoin chart, and probably, in my opinion, of course, anything I say in this video is not a financial advice; it's for pure entertainment purposes. I anticipate Bitcoin to actually start going above 70,000 by the end of next week or beginning of the week after that. And of course, once Bitcoin start outperforming and start hitting all-time highs, Litecoin goes to the moon. We have quite a lot of evidence for that, especially here. Look, in 2013, we jumped from Litecoin was around 40 million. It jumped all the way to a billion. So that's around 25x. Then we corrected and we consolidated, and then from the previous high of 1 billion, Litecoin went around 20 billion. So again, 20x, but measured from the bottom, let's say it was around 180 million in 2016. It went all the way to 17 billion. So that's 100x. And here from 3 billion, we went all the way to 26 billion. Another 10x. So is it hard to believe that Litecoin can actually go 10x from here and start hitting prices of 40 billion? I don't think so. I think there's a lot of potential, a lot of what's the purpose for Litecoin? The purpose and the most useful use case for Litecoin is the store of value. The same thing that Bitcoin is doing. Of course, we can't compare Bitcoin and Litecoin because, I mean, you know, Bitcoin is a lot more valuable. But Litecoin is also serve its purpose, being a store of value. So, looking at this chart, and we've been hitting from its launch in 2013. um, we can clearly see the upper trend. So when I see a chart like that, I'm bullish, setting up higher highs and higher lows, setting up higher lows and and, and higher lows, pretty much consolidating above each level. When we look at it, Litecoin compared to the USD, this is the chart I'm seeing. Is it gonna play out exactly like it played out in 2017, and exactly how it played out in 2021 bull cycle? I don't know, but we have two scenarios where this play out perfectly, and dealing with theory probabilities, this can potentially happen again. Of course, it's not a financial advice, but it's just something to look for it. um, how I see it can potentially play out. So if we measure this trend line here, something like that, from here. So we had two touch points. Um, Once in July of 2023, we hit Litecoin of around $120, and then we touched this trend line again. in April of 2024. I think if we once Bitcoin start hitting its all-time highs, as we clearly see, if something like that plays out in the weeks to come, and Litecoin pretty much start going up again, as we can clearly see, it's always been the case, and eventually, since we touched a few times this trend line, we break out of it and we turn into resistance, so above $120, and we touch it, and this previous resistance turn into support, and then we turn this trend line into support. We can actually snap. If we measure it, we can snap to around here, 200, around 200, um, over $200 by the end of by the end of the year. And then I can see on the weekly chart, um, we can actually plays out something like that, a reverse head and shoulders, which if plays out something like that, we can break out of it and we can actually snap above this trend line of around $500, if something like that happen, of course, because we can clearly see here's um, the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. So that's a bullish chart pattern. And if we start touching this trend line, we can clearly see we've already touched it once here in December of 2017 and 2021. So I think it's possible to touch it again in 2025, beginning of 2025, um, or maybe the summer of 2025. Let's see how bullish Bitcoin will be, and then from that moment, we'll clearly see Litecoin, what's the potential, and once this price target will play out. And the road to $1,000, I think it'll be quite simple. So we clearly see on the weekly chart, this chart looks extremely bullish, especially when we're here at the bottom of this trend line. Most probably, of course, it's not a financial advice, but we can just see how likely it is from here to here. I mean, that's 8x, something like 8x. Is it so hard to believe? We just have to understand that once the altcoin bull season starts, some altcoins can actually outperform Bitcoin. I'm saying in 10, 15 times. I mean, just look at Dogecoin, for example. Dogecoin went over 100 billion. But not only Dogecoin, there's so many um, altcoins and blockchains such as Cardano, ADA, BNB, Solana. They went over 100 billion. And this bull cycle, I think, since Bitcoin's going to start hitting all-time highs above 100,000, some of them, they can actually go 200 billion, 300 billion. I'm not saying Litecoin can do that, but in order for Litecoin to actually hit price of $1,000, it must so just multiplying it, it must reach a market cap valuation of around, I would say, 80 billion. 80 billion. I don't think this is an impossible task for Litecoin, and that's how it's gonna play out. How it's gonna play out is something like that. So we we form this head and shoulders. We start. We break out on the upper side, and we start this upper trend line again. So this trend line, we broke out of it. Let's say we reach price of around 490, and then we touch the line again, but this time it's not a resistance anymore because we broke out of it and we turn it into support. And from that moment, it's going to be price discovery, and measured from the bottom here around 6 to here, we can actually snap over, uh, yeah, even over $1,000, and I think it can play out quite quickly once we break out of this trend line. Of course, this is the most bullish case scenario for Litecoin. I'm not saying this is gonna play out perfectly, but mm, there's a possibility of something like that happening. You have to look at the history and how this played out, and how identical the 2021 bull cycle played out. And also here we had something like that in 2013. So with great confidence we can say that every single time Litecoin is performing quite well in the bull cycle. We have 2013 as example, 2017 as example, and 2021 as an example. So let's see in 2025 or late 2024 how it's gonna play out. Um, let's just look Litecoin compared to the Bitcoin chart. This is on the monthly, and this is a huge falling wedge, right? And I think we're on the cusp of breaking out. And if we break out, I'm not gonna be surprised if we start touching these levels of around uh, 0.025, 25, yeah. And right now we are so pretty much 25x compared to the BTC, compared to the BTC. But if BTC start tripling or yeah, doubling or tripling its price from here, so that's actually 40-50x. 40-50x will catapult um, Litecoin to even further, but I don't think it has the potential to go over 100 billion or 150 billion. But I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. I think Litecoin has a potential to reach $1,000, but I don't think it has such a bullish case to go even further than that, as some people say, to go like 150 160 billion market cap valuation. Of course, anything, again, I repeat myself, is not a financial advice. Make your own research, do your diligence, and make your own research before you do anything. But uh, I have to be honest with you guys. Litecoin chart looks quite bullish. Bitcoin chart also. I've been bearish for quite some time. I managed to predict every single move here with this chart pattern, and with great confidence, I would say on the short term and the long term, I'm quite bullish. There's bullish case scenarios for Bitcoin going to over 100 by the quarter two, quarter three of next year, and Litecoin most probably will perform quite well with it. Okay, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the nice comments as well. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, please do it. It's for absolutely free. There's a lot more content coming. I think you can learn quite a lot of things with my channel: chart analysis, market research, altcoin gems, um, price targeting. So there's a lot more content also coming, and you can subscribe to my Patreon as well and get my crypto guidebook for absolutely free that I personally wrote. I think there's very interesting things that you can actually learn from there. And yeah, once again, thanks for the support, and we see each other tomorrow. Goodbye.